It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
Back, we've got Fort Smith attorney Joey McCutchen is with us. Joey, welcome back to the program.
Morning, Paul. Glad to be here.
Yes, sir. I would like to start, if we can, with the news. Late last week on Thursday, there was a hearing scheduled, to try to get Ecclesia College to finally comply with the FOIA. In this lawsuit, you represent Jim Parsons, who sued to try to figure out where our taxpayer money was going. And the hearing was canceled because they did release what was described by the Gazette as a trove of documents. How many documents was it?
Yeah, not a whole lot of documents. Unfortunately, we didn't get as many as what we would have liked. But we're going to be taking depositions shortly. It looks like we went down the deposition route. They provided records. We canceled the depositions based upon records. We look at the records. We don't think we've got what we asked for. So we file a motion to compel with the court, and then shortly before the hearing, they say this is all we've got. Basically, there's no reason to go through with a hearing if they say what they've got. So basically, we're going to be persistent. We're going to take a deposition. We're going to see if this is all they've got.
Wait a second. So it sounds like there's another delay. It's another delay tactic. So they said we released them, no need to have the hearing, and you're saying that you still don't have what you need.
Well, I'm saying they say that's all they've got. I'm not convinced that's all they've got. But that's what that's what Travis Story, Bob Ballinger's partner, says is all he's got. So, whether that's all they have or not, don't know.
Okay.
But there's an illegal exaction here, and that's the documents that we have requested. Documents that relate to all the funds of the GIF fund monies obtained pursuant to the request from Micah Neal or John Wood.
So specifically, what are you looking? What document are you looking for specifically, or what is the information that you're looking for? Like how specifically it was spent, how it was all allocated, or are you looking for bank statements? What are you looking for exactly?
Yeah, all that type of stuff. I want to know any disbursements that from Ecclesia to regarding GIF funds pursuant to the request of Micah Neal or John Woods. I want to know where that money went once it hit once our public dollars hit the Ecclesia bank account. I want to know what Ecclesia did with that money.
And I think we're entitled to it, considering they're at the scandal of now, a convicted state senator and lobbyist, as well as, they pled guilty. Orrin Paris and Micah Neal pled guilty. I think we need to know where that money went. Do you think the state has any obligation here to audit Ecclesia or attempt to go in there to find out what happened with our money?
Yeah, I do. I think that anything and everything needs to be done to, as you say, and I agree, what happened to our money. Because, as we know, $700,000 of taxpayer dollars went to a private college. If you believe what they're saying, they're not actually a college; they're a church. So, but we need to know what happened to our money. And when we get several transaction tickets and a QuickBooks account. Maybe that's all they've got. Maybe it is all they've got. But, the first round we didn't get. The first round of trying to get those documents, we said we were provided all the documents. Well, apparently that wasn't the case. And now, shortly before a motion to compel, we get additional documents. So we're not going away.
Okay. Yeah, so hopefully...
And ultimately, we think that, they're claiming that Ecclesia is a private college. Well, they are intertwined with our government money. We think ultimately we're going to get all the documents because they should be FOIAble.
I agree,
and that's the ultimate claim.
Do you think, speaking of FOIA, do you think there needs to be anything done to strengthen our FOIA laws?
I do. I think that FOIA, and this is going to be something I'm going to push for. I think that FOIA needs to apply to our state representatives and our state senators, so that just like there's open meeting requirements for school boards and city councils, there should be open meeting requirements where our state senators and our state legislators are doing their business in committee meetings and not in back rooms. And ultimately, I'm going to ask, and it may be a people's referendum, because I think that needs to happen. I think that FOIA needs to apply to state representatives, state senators. They need to do their business in sunshine, just like school boards and city councils.
So would that mean that their emails would be FOIAble, would be Freedom of Information? Would that apply to their emails, for example?
Yeah. I mean, I think open documents, open records, that's part of FOIA, and then certainly open meetings. So that when we pass out, for example, like we're going to be talking about issue 1, which places an arbitrary price tag on the value of human life in just a second, I think. Mm-hmm. That discussion needs to be occurring in committee meetings. The people had 20 minutes to discuss issue 1 during last session, so all the deals were cut. In the smoke-filled rooms of the Capitol, and not where the people can see this. And we know what happens when that type of conduct occurs.
Yeah,
we get corruption, and
let's talk about that.
Do we have corruption?
Yeah, we have it everywhere. It is, and now that Rusty Cranford is, we talked about this in the last hour. Now that Rusty Cranford is likely to change his plea later this week from not guilty to guilty, you just got to wonder. He knows everything, and I was saying last hour that the reason Rusty Cranford's probably changed his plea is because he actually has been in custody this whole time. He's been sitting in a jail cell, and he's probably thinking, no, I think I'd like to serve less time. I don't want to serve the maximum sentence for all this stuff. And I think he's going to roll on a lot of people, and I think a lot of people are really nervous about it. And that's generally the corruption. But then specifically over in your neck of the woods, over the weekend, or I guess Friday afternoon, the Arkansas Times broke the story that there was a new item added to the docket up there in the Missouri district where Rusty Cranford's scheduled to go on trial in September. And they're saying that now he's going to I'm sorry. I'm getting my stories confused. The Arkansas Times reported that Jake Files, that there was a special prosecutor that was going to be appointed for Jake Files, and this was huge news because this has to do with $80,000, the wire transfer from David Norsworthy to Jake Files' company, and this has to also, you pointed out, it has to do with the bad tort reform law that's on the ballot this November. Talk about that, Joey.
That's right. I think that's really big news. Back in April, Sebastian County Prosecutor Danny Shue sent a letter to U.S. Attorney Dak Keys, basically asking the question, what's going on here with this $80,000 wire transfer? We've had allegations it's in violation of federal law. We know that Jake Files is coming up in June, and his sentencing. So the question primarily becomes, what are the feds doing? They've had this for over a year now. They've thoroughly investigated this. Is that going to be part of the plea deal? And did Jake Files? What did Jake Files tell the feds on David Norsworthy, this $80,000 unexplained, unreported wire transfer? Now we know that Sebastian County Prosecutor has filed a motion, got an order, and there's going to be a special prosecutor looking into this matter. Now, there's no question that the state police have had this matter for a long time. The feds have had this matter for over a year now, this $80,000 wire transfer. We know that David Norsworthy is a huge player in Issue 1, which takes away the rights of the most vulnerable in society, our elderly, puts a price tag on their life of $500,000. Now we know that 1 week after tort reform was filed, similar bill back in November of 14, 1 week after David Norsworthy, a power broker at the Capitol, a lobbyist, sends this $80,000 wire transfer. Hopefully this week we will know who the prosecutor will be, and there will be accountability.
Doesn't this
got to be accountability?
Doesn't this undermine? I think because of this tort reform amendment, where the tort reform bill that Jake Files, it looks like got the $80,000 for, that's very similar to what we're all going to be voting on. To me, it undermines any effort. I don't want to have a back and forth debate with supporters of Issue 1 this November about, well, the merits of this and the merits of that. I think any argument they make that doesn't address the fact that this is a nursing home law, that this was tort reform specifically for nursing homes, when we have judges that are pleading guilty to accepting bribes to lower judgements that were against nursing homes. We have this David Norsworthy $80,000. Any defense to get people to vote for Issue 1 should start with explaining this away. I don't even want, because you've got pro-life organizations that are against this, rightfully so, and now they're coming out and saying, no, Issue 1 is pro-life, and there's an unholy alliance between the Family Council and with trial attorneys. No, none of that. If you guys want to have a legitimate debate about the merits of Issue 1, I think you must start by explaining away Michael Morton, Judge Maggio accepting the bribe, and this $80,000 wire transfer. And explain away the special interest. Go ahead, Joey.
Yeah, let's not let the fact be go unnoticed that David Norsworthy is the business partner of Michael. You're
talking about Michael Morton,
with Michael Morton.
Yeah.
David Norsworthy is the business. Michael Morton, obviously Maggio, to lower Michael Morton's judgment against his nursing home, has pled guilty to bribery. Now we know that the partner, David Norsworthy, has bribed I'll call it a bribe. It's unexplained. If this was a loan, then why wasn't it reported by Senator Files? This wasn't a gift. I mean, come on, this is. And these same people, these same nursing home owners, want to write the rules of the court to rig the jury system against children, stay-at-home moms, and our elderly. And so it is a fundamental, foundational question. When we know at least one senator has been bribed, and hey, if he had an explanation, why hasn't he come forward? If I receive an $80,000 wire transfer and somebody's calling it a bribe, I'm going to say, no, I built a house for David Norsworthy, or I did this, or I did that. Produce the document. But you're absolutely right. Issue 1 is flawed. We've got Jake Files. It happened back November of 14, but what happened after that issue never got on the ballot, and then we had more tort reform that got kicked off the ballot. Then this year, the chickens came home to roost, and Jake Files suddenly becomes a co-sponsor of Issue 1.
Yeah.
And I asked myself the question, and I had a conversation with Senator Files. Just what's going on here, Senator Files? Why did you all of a sudden change your tune? And that comes on the heels of him receiving other $30,000. Let's not forget about the $30,000 that he received from lobbyist Hawkins.
Yeah, Bruce.
That was unreported until the media got onto it.
Yeah, it's extremely. We just have a culture of corruption here. Now we're talking with Joey McCutchen, Fort Smith attorney. Joey, I would like for you to talk about. Did you see Senator Trent Gardner's op-ed in the Democrat Gazette that was for tort reform? Did you happen to read that?
Yeah, the one that the Arkansas State Chamber wrote for Senator Garner. Yeah, I saw it. Doesn't it? It sure makes you wonder, doesn't it? I mean, since tort reform is going to produce jobs and tort reform is going to lower insurance rates, the next thing they're going to be that it's a cure for cancer, I guess.
Uh-huh.
It's just amazing.
Well, and they're taking they're taking the other side's argument. I mean, you have saying this is not pro-life. Family Council says we are a pro-life organization from conception to natural death. And so then Trent Gardner says, no, it is pro-life. You have the other side that says this is going to hurt our elderly and their rights. And then that op-ed said, no, this is going to help our elderly. And so that's so frustrating to me when they just take that, because they know that the arguments against this are resonating with the people.
Who are we going to believe? Trent Garner, who is supported by big nursing home money, or are we going to believe Jerry Cox of the Family Council, who says that this places an arbitrary value on life, and that's the reason that he's against it? Are we going to believe Rose Mims with Arkansas Right to Life, who says that this is that this will attract abortion doctors to our state? If you don't hold people accountable, I'm sorry. It's not good, and it rigs the jury system in favor of special interests. There's no question about it. It's just a rigged system.
And here we are talking about the merits and the pitfalls of what we're all going to be voted on this November, folks. You're going to get to have a say in this, yes or no. But knowing the culture of special interest concerning this particular issue in years past, with Jake Files, with the judge that said he accepted the bribe to lower the judgment, with all of this stuff, why in the world would they go forward and put this on the ballot with a massive amount of Republican support? Only in Arkansas would they. It's a shameless act where you have clearly a special interest that is doing everything they can to get this specific tort reform for the nursing home industry. And only in Arkansas, after you have the $80,000 in, or I don't know if we knew about the $80,000 yet, but we certainly knew about the Michael Morton stuff. You go ahead and do it anyway. They have to explain how this isn't just a special interest bailout for the nursing homes before we can even talk about the merits of the bill, in my opinion.
Because you have to think, if we were able to see the corruption, you wonder how much more corruption there is associated with this issue one and tort reform. It blows your mind that this can be on the ballot, but it is about education.
Yes.
I think when people understand that special interests are going to be writing the court rules and not judges and lawyers on both sides, it's going to be in that political cesspool down at the Capitol that's controlled by lobbyists, like Rusty Cranford and David Norsworthy, and they're going to be writing the rules that are going to deny, close the courthouse to our elderly when they're abused in nursing homes. I mean, it really, really is something that the voters have to really look at. And the only reason they want to act like, we're just letting the voters. The only reason that they're letting the voters vote on this is because our founding fathers in 1874 put a specific provision in that said that legislatures could not cap damages. And that was brought about by the corruption by railroads in the 1870s. And now, ironically, nursing homes are trying to undo that provision that have protected our elderly, our children, our stay-at-home moms for year after year, 144 years.
Joey McCutchen, Fort Smith attorney, it's always a pleasure. Keep us posted on that Ecclesia stuff.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Thank you, Paul.
Joey McCutchen, everybody. Hey, did you guys hear me